Yeah, that's right, Steve. Anyway, here we go. You want to start with Fultz, or do you want to preview San Antonio and the rest of the week?
Let's go Fultz. Let's talk about.
Okay.
Let's talk about.
I'm going to let you just kick that right off.
A one-time potential Celtic. I mean, look, you live down there, so you're hearing all of this. Let's talk about. I want to pull out a small piece of this, and then we'll talk about Fultz in terms of the player and so. Obviously, Markelle Fultz, fair chance. We all thought he was going to be a Celtic, unquestioned number one, going into the draft lottery. And, we were fans of, Tatum and Jackson had some, there was some buzz there. But really, Fultz was the name. Things fall apart. Everyone's asking questions. Why did Danny take, Tatum instead of Fultz? I mean, even to this day, we had the knuckleheads, the zookeepers there on 98.5 the Sports Hub talking about how, well, Danny, why did you take Markelle Fultz? Why did you trade away Markelle Fultz for Tatum? I mean, it's like, it's over. Enough. We've seen enough. Tatum was the guy. What I don't understand is the Philly media, and mostly them being involved in the Ringer. The Ringer, having started by former Boston sports guy Bill Simmons, hires a lot of Philly guys, and so they put together this pretty interesting little thing of what have we learned in the first week or whatever of the NBA season. And they spend the whole time basically talking about Simmons and Embiid and Fultz. Were not for Kevin O'Connor, former Celtics Stuff Live guest, good guy, smart guy, the best they have there at the Ringer, it would have been a complete, Philly washout. Best rookies out there. You wouldn't even know that Tatum exists were it not for Kevin O'Connor. There's just this Philly nonsense going on out there. Everyone's excited for Philly. What have they done? I mean, it's a joke. And now
they can't stay healthy.
Stay healthy.
I would be so frustrated.
Oh my God.
You're right. I do live down here, and I got a bunch of neighbors who are 76ers fans, and I do see the interest in rooting for that team. If they're healthy and they grow together, they will be very exciting. And Embiid is, he's Embiid, and so Fultz is kind of still an unknown. A lot of it too because of the college selection, right? But it's the health that's such a question mark. Simmons couldn't stay healthy. Embiid couldn't stay healthy. And then this is the way that Fultz kicks off, his campaign, his rookie campaign. I just would be, as a Phillies, as a 76ers fan, I would be really frustrated. This would bother me because the trust the process and the losing, they're still not necessarily going to be a playoff team because the players are so young. It's just the way it is. But you want to start seeing some wins rack up, and you want to see these young players playing together. And so for Fultz to suffer this injury, I mean, the JJ Redick thing, though, that's what everybody's excited about. It is so funny, but everybody down here is like, thank God we finally have a veteran on this team who can really put the ball in the hoop. And so they see a change sort of just in the way that the team plays and the effort. And, they didn't bring in Redick to just help a young team lose games. So I think that shift in the attitude is buying a lot of time with 76ers fans, even if the wins aren't racking up. I think they're more patient now because they've been through this trust the process of, and, essentially intentionally losing, that they're excited. But I would still, if I were them, and I'm not, but if I were, I would find it incredibly frustrating, this Fultz injury. And I know there's nothing you can do about it, but to your point, to put Tatum like on a complete back burner, I mean, wasn't that the storyline that everybody wanted to bang the drum on this year? Was that trading down and the Celtics had that pick and this and that and all the movement? Yeah. I feel like that's a missed opportunity more than anything, just professionally speaking. If you've got a bunch of Philly writers and you've got a Boston writer, they should have been pit up right against each other. Why not feed into that storyline that's going to be playing out for years to come?
And if I'm KOC, I'm doing a victory lap. I called this, right? He was waving the Tatum banner as loudly and proudly as anybody I've ever seen in the pre-draft warm-ups in a national sense. Everyone else was all buying in on the Fultz train. And, look, a lot of us lapped it up. We were right there. But the more that came out, he was unwavering in that. Good on Kevin for sticking with it. But let's go to the Sixers side of it. Okay, so let's run it down. We got Noel, we got Embiid, we got Simmons, we got Fultz. 4 years of top picks that have now gone down the drain. And so the thing is, I understand from Philly's perspective, we're gonna bring Redick in, and we're going for it now. Embiid's healthy, we're going for it now. Simmons is back, we're going for it now. But you don't take leave of your senses to do that. And what they've done with Fultz, and not only having him play through this injury, when you see a player of yours shooting a free throw like in that manner, which clearly he's labored, clearly there's something wrong with his form, you shut the guy down and you get him right. There is no sense in messing the guy up. I mean, we're talking about like the Steve Sachs disease type situation. Is this mental? Is there more to it? I mean, thank God it seems like it's a physical thing, but why are you even trying? You're 2-4 at this point. Shut him down, get him right, and get his career going. It boggles the mind what they're doing there. And the fact they'd even play him with this injury, it's malpractice. I know Sam Hinkie got a lot of guff, and he should. There's a lot of things that didn't work right in terms of the culture of that team, but you can't tell me the Colangelos have got it figured out with what they've done with Markelle Fultz here. And I feel bad for the guy. I'm not one of these, forget him. The Celtics got Tatum, haha. No, right, I'm not like that. Good on him. I hope
we don't want
well.
You don't want to be bitter. You want that storyline to play out. I mean, yes, you want to be on the winning end of that storyline, but you definitely don't want an Odin scenario with that, right? Where, we have no idea what Odin would have been because, I was Durant and you were Odin.
Right.
And so, with that in mind, it would have been really nice for us to have that debate for years to come, but we really don't. So we just, have to know that I was probably still going to be right. But anyway, that you don't want that. What we wanted was a healthy Odin who was battling Kevin Durant, in the postseason for years and years and years, and for them to be linked. And that's what you want with Tatum and Fultz as well. You want them to be linked. You want them to be playing against each other. You want them to be leading their respective teams to some degree in the postseason. And the thing about Philly is it's got this unique tie with Boston for some reason because Boston's had all these high picks. So it's like two young teams built in completely opposite ways. And so you want that rivalry, despite the fact that, Beat LA was chanted for the 76ers in the Garden, right? Even though there's maybe some brotherly love, at the same time, you still want that rivalry. You want that back. And you want something unique. I mean, think about the rivalries. It's always New York. It's always New York. It's always New York, right? Let's have a new one. Let's just get a new city to mess with. And the Philly would be an awesome one as the Celtics get younger and pass the torch and stay in the postseason. And then they amass all this talent. You would want them to be playing well, but you definitely don't want to see somebody like Fultz end up like Odin, and definitely not because he's playing when he shouldn't be.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is you want to see them at their best. You want to take them on at their best. You want to do what you can. And Philly is mismanaging this yet again. And you wonder how long it's going to take before something else goes wrong. This is Noel was kicked to the curb. Basically, they got 2 second-rounders for him. Very low for what he was as a number 6 pick. I'm just saying, you're right. Let's get something going. We have the thing going with Washington. We'll see if that has rekindled. That team is tied for first, just like the Celtics. But a tough loss against the Warriors after being up 20 at the half. So, but I really dislike the Washington Wizards. So it's a little bit different right now. I'd say probably Philly's a little bit more like the kid brother that you want to beat more than that you really don't think has a chance to beat you.
No, you want them to grow into a competitor so that you can have that. And you're right. It's Washington right now. It's funny that the Raptors never really, as much as that team had kicked our heinies the last 2 years, it still was never really a budding rivalry. There was no heat in those matchups at all. But in the Washington, there's plenty of heat. And with the 76ers, there's not, but that's just because the two teams are in complete different levels of ability.
But they're better. They're best.